have enough recorders.
The microphone turned on.
I think so. Is it? Can you hear it on the speakers?
I don't hear you coming out of the speakers. No.
No?
No. Yes.
Oh, maybe I have turned it off during the.
Outside, you turned it off.
No, during the silent recitation.
Is that loud enough?
Oh, you control the level, okay?
Okay.
The volume.
I'll come down just a tad.
Will the sun with virtues out of compassion for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to leave suffering, attain bliss, and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo Saranto Suche Doye, Ola Hodi Samyo Saputo Shire.
Namo Saranto Suche Doye, Ola Hodi Samyo Saputo Shire.
Namo Saranto Suche Doye, Ola Hodi Samyo Saputo Shire.
Namo Saranto Suche Doye, Ola Hodi Samyo Saputo Shire.
Namo Saranto Suche Doye, Ola Hodi Samyo Saputo Shire.
Namo Saranto Suche Doye, Ola Hodi Samyo Saputo Shire.
Together. The unsurpassed, deep, profound, subtle, wonderful Dharma. In 100,000 million aeons, it's difficult to encounter. Now that I've come to receive and hold it within my sight and hearing, I vow to fathom thus come one's true and actual meaning. All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Shenhua, all good known advisors, Amitofo. Okay. Yeah.
We had a discussion a couple of weeks ago about the ants.
Yeah.
And I found that if you put down a bridge of Vaseline, they will not cross it.
Oh, is that right? Does it work?
It works beautifully.
Until it rains. Oh, until it dries up.
It's okay.
There's a mantra. I think Randy alluded to that. It's a mantra called the Great Compassion Mantra. You recite it, the pests will leave the house. Doesn't always work, but
Works a lot.
Where is it? What is it?
It's about giving cup.
Is there one that draws them though? Because we have a beautiful arch that Mel created out in the backyard, and we put our 3 favorite Buddhas there with flower offerings daily. And we have had raccoons, squirrels, bumblebees, birds, and yesterday I was sitting out on the patio and this huge hawk flew under the patio roof 6 feet from me and flew out and sat on the closest cable wire and observed me for about 4 minutes and then flew away.
Oh.
Wow.
She emits light and draws the hawks. The eyesight is very keen. That's why we came around to look at this shiny thing.
And the bumblebee will fly just this close from me and never bothers me.
Okay, Shramana's cut off desire, now it's love. Any more objections today?
No, now I understand. I talked with Mel and further understood.
It's a very tough concept to talk about, love and desire. And this is the harder part of the sutra, right at the front of the sutra. You guys, your objections are very good the last time because there were objections from gods and goddesses. Could you lower the volume there? And recognize the source of the minds. That is a description that Chan would describe it as to see the nature. Okay, this is what the Chan school refers to. To see your nature is to recognize the source of the minds. They penetrate to the Buddha's profound principles and awaken to the unconditioned Dharma. To penetrate the principles, you need repetition, right? You need, just like in particular, Venerable Shenhua's sutras, when you read them, when I give you them as part of your reading assignments, you're supposed to read them over and over and over again. Typically, it is said that when you listen to a symphony, you need to at least, even as an expert composer, a conductor, you must at least listen to it 40 times before you begin to see the whole picture, the whole musical composition. 40 times. Okay? That's only a mortal creation, or at best a heavenly creation. The Buddha, what he teaches is extremely profound. I tell you my personal example. I've been reading Master Shenhua's Sutra for years and years now. I don't recall how many times anymore. Okay, he has a lot of sutras that were translated into English. I read so many of them so many times, and to this day, even for example, his explanation of the sutra in 42 sections. Even I read them nowadays, every time I read, I do pick up the new stuff. That's what is meant by profound principles. They're there. It's just that we don't catch on. So it takes a lot of repetition. Okay. I notice here that he used the word awaken. The higher section is to understand the conditioned Dharma. When you practice at this level of the sages, they awaken to the principles. They're the state of a sage. Right? Any questions? Internally, they have nothing to attain, and externally, they seek nothing. They are not mentally bound to the way, nor are they tied to karma. They're free of thought and action. They neither cultivate nor attain certification. They do not pass through the various stages, and yet they are highly revered. This is the meaning of the way. Internally, they have nothing to attain. Why is that? Because cultivation is a subtraction process, not addition. You subtract, you don't add. You're removing attachments. That's how you can lift. That's how you can soar. Reaching samadhi, a high level attainment is analogous to soaring into the skies, the high elevations. You can't soar if you still are burdened by a lot of baggage. So what do? You have the combination of adding helium, hot air to it. I don't mean arrogance, but it does come with that. Part of elevation is arrogance. Because you naturally have more hot air, like it or not. Okay? So naturally, I don't care what you tell me, you will eventually become more arrogant. That's a natural thing. As you lift, as you soar. But part of your wisdom is that you learn how to control that arrogance. You learn to recognize it quicker and not be confused by them. So you do have more hot air, or you unload. That's how you live. That's how you soar. So that's why once you understand the process, it really is a process of subtracting, not adding. So it may be described as attaining, but actually it's really nothing to attain. The state of the sages, the arhats, the fourth stage arhat, have reached a state of emptiness of the self. When the self is emptied, there's nothing left. How can there be anything left to attain? And externally, they seek nothing. When you are empty, what is there to seek outside? Any problems with that? So where are we? Are we still going outside? We see a nice car drive by, and we look, right? We still are drawn outside. We're still seeking outside. That's our state. The sages, they're not turned on by the external factors anymore. They are not mentally bound to the way. Okay? And this is, you could look at this as a hint for the arhats. The arhats, once they empty themselves, they still have something called an attachment to the Dharma. They're still bound to the way. So if they continue to practice, they still will be liberated from that attachment. Okay? Nor are they tied to karma. To be tied to karma, it means that they are not creating bad karmas anymore. Yes?
Are they living their karma existence anyway?
They still have to undergo the retributions.
Their karma.
Your body is designed for you to repay your debts.
Yes.
Or create new ones. Okay? You're creating karma with the body. But even though after you attain sagehood, like the Buddha, he still has to undergo his retribution. Because he's obtained his body. As a human person, human being, okay, the human body is the vessel for you to create karmas or undergo the retributions for your past karmas. Depends on which angle. The Hinayana being first stage arhat is sagehood. In Mahayana, you don't become a sage until you reach first ground. First ground is a level of certification that's much further away from arhatship.
So it's beyond fourth stage arhat.
Beyond, much beyond.
But if all became sagehood, society couldn't function.
Not necessarily. It's impossible. Because you look at living beings, we are at various phases of our practice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's virtually impossible for everyone to be at the same stage of sagehood.
So there would always be those.
There will always be people going through cycles.
Because of rebirth, they're just starting off.
Absolutely. Even after you become a sage, let's say after you reach first round bodhisattva, okay, you become a sage. If you die and you happen to be reincarnated as a person, you go through the same process again. Birth, and then you're confused, chase after sexual desire, and then you encounter a teacher who teaches you, and then you become more enlightened, and then you keep on making progress. That's what happened with reincarnation. We all go through a confusion stage that we need to liberate ourselves from. That doesn't happen when you are in the Pure Land. When you go to the Pure Lands, you have one lifetime, you become enlightened. You become a Buddha in one lifetime. There's no more confusion. That's associated with birth. Even arhats, when they come back here, okay, they get confused again.
So birth cost.
Yes. And that's the nature of repayment or retribution right there. If you're not confused, how can you repay your debts? Well, that's not quite correct. If you're not confused, then you find a way to free yourself from that. Okay? The nature of confusion is that a means for us to undergo our retribution. Once you become enlightened, then you have the option. But you see, but it's a valid point. It's very perceptive. Even sages do not evade their retribution. They gladly undergo the retribution. All right? They don't avoid it. It's part of the process. You know why? Because when you undergo the retribution, what are you doing? You're settling debts, and you also are creating affinities as well. Because even though I owe you my debt, but in the process repaying you my debt, I'm also helping others as well. All right? So the sages, they are not horribly worried about being in an advantageous position where they cannot lose anymore. Yes?
Master, excuse me for asking so many questions, but we're all Westerners here. And so ideas like, all right, how does rebirth handle in vitro fertilization or cloning, which is now being done?
Rebirth?
I mean, are some people going to be reborn in a petri dish?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that. It's a form of birth. There are 4 kinds of births. You're born by the womb, like humans. You're born via the eggs. You're born by moisture, like viruses. They're born by moisture. They need moisture before they can reproduce. And the 4th kind is by transformation. That's a kind of birth, let's say for gods. When you're reborn in heaven, it's a birth by transformation. When you're reborn to the Pure Land, it's birth by transformation.
Animals to humans too.
Animals to humans, sometimes. Humans, it's true. Humans, you can find humans can be born in all 4 kinds. So, birth by the womb is not the only form for humans.
So, viruses. So, you have a virus and you become ill, and then, through whatever means you eliminate that virus, are you karma by, in essence, killing that virus?
Typically, when you're sick, you're undergoing a retribution. Okay? And so when you take medicine or that kind of thing, you actually are fighting it. You're postponing the repayment process. So there's always a trade-off. You pay it quickly and you die, you pay it quickly. Okay? But you can postpone it. You can extend it. And so you do have a choice.
There is the retribution for being ill, and if you take medicine to go and help you become better quickly, you're postponing your retribution. But are you also gaining negative karma by taking medicine to go and kill viruses?
It happens. What can you do?
Between a rock and a hard place.
Isn't it their karma that it happens to them too, though?
It's really complicated because basically you're sick is because of your prior killing karma. And let me assure you that all of us have so many killing karmas in our system,
Past life.
past lives. So don't think that just right now, for example, you're healthy and that kind of thing. You're healthy, that means that you're free from that. Okay? They're still waiting. They can come anytime. I'm serious. Cancer can come anytime. Death can come anytime. Okay? It's a matter of cultivation is a way of life that helps us close those windows and minimize the ability of those past karmas to come in and make a claim on us while we're still weak. Am I making sense to you?
Don't we, but still owe it somehow, don't we?
Absolutely.
I mean, but by planning blessings, we cut the intensity of it down, but it goes on further. I don't quite understand how the blessings make the karma better. So take a real bad one. You're supposed to die next week.
Yeah?
And I do a great blessing thing today, and I don't die next week because I did, but I still have a large piece of that dead karma following with me.
Yeah. It's there. It's still there until you pay it up.
And so as long as I
What do you want? You want to get off cheap?
blessings, I go
Yes.
on.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
No, I thought it sounded like
You can.
You mentioned
You can walk it,
cheap
but you can't.
there. I want to know where it was.
There's so many ways to repay your debts. And evading your debt, avoiding repayment is not a good option for you. Because it's impossible. The smart way, the wise way is to find ways to settle the debts.
Know what all those debts are.
Don't worry. It's just so many.
Just keep doing
Good.
meditation every day.
The point is that my question to you is that if we have the debts we have, your past karmic debts is so deep, so many of them, and we don't have enough time to pay them up. The point being that as human beings, we create more bad karmas than good karmas. So we are actually creating a deficit for the future, right? But that's the normal state of livelihood, okay? That's why we cultivate. We cultivate because we want to create more good karmas. And whatever good karmas, good roots we have in the past, we want to get those to mature quickly so that we can escape. We can skip town before they catch up with us. Am I making sense to you? That's why we cultivate. We don't cultivate because we want to shirk responsibilities. We want to outrun them.
Yes.
Did Buddha still have debt?
Oh yeah. When he takes on a birth, he manifests the birth of going to a womb and then being born, that kind of thing. He has to undergo his retribution. Okay. And that's what you go through right now. In the desire realm, we have desire realm debts. When you reach first jhana and you can stay there, that means you are free from desire realm debts. You're not in samadhi, you're not free from debts, from the desire realm. They don't have a way to get to you.
So is that while you're in samadhi or?
While you're in samadhi. Just like That's it. Think of it. The first jhana is like the 10th floor of a building. When you reach the 10th floor and stay there, whatever happens underneath you happens underneath you.
How about those debts don't go away?
Yeah, you're there. So what? What do you want? You. In the past, you came and you cut my neck and I died. You want that to go away? Yeah, you can want it, but it's not going to go away until you settle it. When you're stupid, we create bad karma. That's it. What do you want? That's what we do. That's what we do. And then now we realize, you say, oh, I'm so sorry. Can you go away? That's what human beings do.
Avoid.
They try to avoid it. They try to avoid repaying.
Make a deal.
Right. Everything's make a deal. You're right. Everything is make a deal.
Make a deal.
How do I forgive those who created bad karma against me in the past?
You don't make a claim. You don't make a claim.
Do I not make a claim?
For example, you walk in here, you look at my face and you can't. Suddenly you have this urge of wanting to yell at my face. Okay? You have this urge of making a fist and beat up on my face. Right? You know what that is? Because in the past, I did that to you. And naturally, when we encounter again, these relationships, these past, these interconnection come back alive again. Okay? And that's why you naturally have these reactions. Okay? Part of being wise is that you catch those things, you catch those moments, and you stop yourself. You're not making a claim. Right there. Does it make sense to you?
So you've cleared a debt for them,
You forgive the debt.
and do you get anything out of it?
What do you think?
I think yes.
Form of giving. If you owe me money and I don't collect from you, what am I doing? I'm giving you my money. That's it. Wisdom. Okay? These sages are free from thought. They stop the working of the conscious mind, so your mind, our thinking mind, and action, because you stop creating karmas, bad karmas.
So, can we go back to not mentally bound to the way?
It's not surprising you don't understand it. It's basically, I explain it in terms of beyond arhatship. They tied to the arhats when they realize they empty the self, their self. Okay? And they realize they could do it with the particular dharma they practice. Okay? They have something called dharma attachment. They said, aha, my wisdom is based on my practice of this dharma. That's called a dharma attachment. Okay? So they are attached to the dharma that they practice.
So, to a state where you are no longer attached to that particular dharma, does that mean you achieve a state where
you reach first ground bodhisattva? That's when you get there. You're no longer mentally bound to the way.
you realize the way, the dharma, that you are not attached to it?
You know, I see that as an opening with no no ties to any religion. It's just, you just know.
Religion is a human invention.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
Okay? There's, when you reach the state of, it's very good analogy. It's very good. They're not mentally bound the way, really, when you reach first stage, first ground Bodhisattva, there's no more Mahayana. There's no more religion. But you can't get there unless you go through an expedient called Buddha Dharma. Okay? So you have to be very clear in your mind. When you get there, there's nothing left. Right? So when they get there, they look and you say, Christian, you're non-Buddhist, you're Qigong, you're Tai Chi, you're Buddhist, Protestant. So the same thing.
There's no differentiation.
No, none whatsoever. However, that's a state of a sage. You can't say that since where you are sitting, you say, yeah, see, that's why I want to get this. This is what ultimately what it is. But you're not there yet. You can't say that, okay, since eventually since there's nothing at all, okay? But you are not nothing. You are not empty yet. You have to practice until you get there. Right? And again, the only Dharma that enables you to get there is a Bodhisattva vehicle, not even an Arhat vehicle. Arhatship is only a part of the way. They haven't got it yet. They haven't really reached a state of emptiness yet, true emptiness yet. So they're still mentally bound to their practice, to the way. It's very good. Ultimately, that's what it is. See, it's us humans who are still confused, who decide to distinguish between Christianity and Buddhism and Taoism and Qigong and Tai Chi Chuan, you name it. It's all here because our mental processing, our discriminating mind. When you reach a state of a first ground Bodhisattva, that stops. All right? When they get there, a state where they neither cultivate nor attain certification. They do not pass through the various stages. Not pass through the various stages refer to sudden enlightenment. Okay? What in a Chan school we call sudden enlightenment. You go, you work hard, and all of a sudden you become enlightened. Well, that's like when you practice. You work very hard, and you cross your legs, and you do your dharma, your practice. All of a sudden, you enter samadhi. That's a similar kind of thing. Okay, but this now refers to sudden enlightenment, not simply entering samadhi. And yet, they're highly revered by our lower realms. Okay, trust me. You are so limited by your own senses. What you can hear, what you can see, what you can taste, what you can understand. There's a yin world which you can't see. They can see us, but we can't see them. For example, the ghosts can see us, but we can't see them without our normal eyes. Okay? Or we can't see the gods. They can see us. And they know about these sages. And therefore they come and learn from the sages and come and act as Dharma protectors and revere them, make offerings to them. This is the meaning of the way. Any questions on this section?
But what does it mean, neither cultivate, nor attain certification?
They cultivate, and yet they're not cultivating. They're not attached to cultivation. Right now, every day, okay, Mel sits there and say, I need to cross my legs because that's how I calm myself down. And then his wife says, yes, honey, you go ahead and cross your legs. I like you much better after you cross your legs. Okay? So they are still cultivating. They still have that mindset. They still see the need. When you reach the state of sagehood, you cultivate and yet you're not cultivating. It becomes a natural way of functioning. Okay? Cultivation becomes living for you.
Samadhi as well? Or is it past samadhi?
Samadhi is a state of concentration. What we're talking about here is wisdom. Concentration brings forth wisdom.
The wisdom.
That's beyond some samadhi, in other words. But you cannot develop this kind of wisdom until you reach the samadhi levels that can open it up for you, help unfold it for you. All right?
It's like reading a book, you get to one part of it and then you gotta go.
Yes.
Keeps
Bit by
unfolding
bit.
more and more as we go
Yes.
and as you go.
Yes.
If you said that when we go through this nothing, we get full of hot air, the egos will grow. Is that the control that you have over not allowing that certification then to be cause the ego to be out of control? Isn't that, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Certification would boost the ego.
No. When you reach arhatship, fourth stage arhatship, you empty yourself, no more ego involved. Until then, your ego gets stronger and stronger.
Okay.
It's very dangerous. Don't take it lightly. Because unless you learn about wisdom right now, you see, that's a fallacy of the prior generation of my disciples, of my students. They progressed too quickly. And I didn't teach them wisdom. So it's very easy for them to spin out of orbit. You see what I mean? Because as your samadhi power increases, the self becomes so much stronger, so much faster, so much more refined, so much more powerful. You don't listen anymore. Look at me and say, who are you?
Right.
I'm a goddess. Yeah, I'm a goddess. What are you going to do about it? Too late, sucker. You taught me. You made me. You made me. What do you want? Free from you.
But yet with that same training, we also learn to control that.
That's wisdom.
Yeah.
That's wisdom part. That's why you need sutra lectures. That's why I used to send my students to the monasteries, and I found out that these monasteries have a hard time controlling them. Because they sit in the audience and say, I disagree. What are you going to do about it? Huh? I disagree with you. What do you know? Yeah, you are wrong. I know you're wrong.
But can't you disagree?
Well, you can disagree. But you see, if you disagree with someone who's weaker than you, that person has no chance of explaining things to you. Am I making sense to you?
And his ego involved.
Yeah, and you say, see, you can't convince me. First of all, you don't know as much as you think you do. And I'm stronger than you. What are you going to do about it?
Underlooked eventually.
The ego becomes stronger. He says, see, you guys are all the same. You're a bunch of idiots. That's a fallacy of making progress too quickly without developing wisdom. It's having a balance.
I think ego is most difficult for Westerners.
Our system,
The
our
program we can do.
value system is based on egos. It's based on kissing up to it and making it grow stronger and strengthening it.
It regenerates itself.
So what do? You come here and I shake you and make you suffer. And what happens? I alluded to that earlier. You want to quit. You want to run away from me. That's a function of the ego rearing its ugly head. It says, I don't like you. I don't like it. You are so mean. You're so evil. You come up with so many reasons just to run away. Where it's comfortable.
Instead of seeing the purpose behind the challenge.
That's why you're attached. That's why you're unwilling to let go. I be blunt with you today. There's one person who says, I refuse to be Buddhist. What does it sound like to you? It's not heavy attachment. I don't care. I can't care less you're Buddhist or Christian or God or Goddess. It makes no difference. It's you, not me. What do I care? Huh? I have my life to live. Okay? Whether you're Buddhist, you're Christian, or whatever it is, it's your life.
But in Western society, if you say that, I don't want to be a Christian, then you're ostracized.
Yeah.
People don't want you around, so it's...
So see, I don't fall into that trap. You see, she's been trapping me. She's been trapping me to see how I reacted. She doesn't know that she still doesn't know. I can't care less whether you're Buddhist or non-Buddhist. It's your attachment.
Yeah, that's why I come, because you don't. And that's why I tell them.
But you see, it helps you look at that own
Yes.
attachment.
Right.
Why are you so grasping on to Buddhist and non-Buddhist? It's an attachment. Can't let go.
I was thinking when Gwen adds so much with her questions, I was thinking she's as much of a Buddhist as I am.
Yeah. Why does it matter whether you're Buddhist, you call yourself Buddhist or non-Buddhist? It makes no difference at all. It's how you live your life. That's how you practice.
It's a semantic comment.
So then I was thinking there are probably people out there
On the other hand,
who are Buddhists and they don't know it.
that's right.
Of course.
They're Buddhists and they never learn this Buddhist Dharma. They don't hear about what I tell you. Okay? So what does it tell you? Do I care whether you're Buddhist or not before I explain things to you? Huh? Doesn't matter. You are you. I'm me. If you want to listen, I try to sell you something. But the point is that it's what you learn, what you do with your knowledge. That's the bottom line. Okay? But be careful. Be careful. Don't fall into the trap of the ahas where they're bound to being non-Buddhist or being Christian or to be Buddhist. All those are attachments. There's no need for all those things. But don't make this mistake of saying because it doesn't matter what I am anyway, okay? Therefore, I don't need to walk the Buddhist path. The Buddhist path is still the most direct path to help you unfold your wisdom. That's a distinction that should be very clear in your head. Okay? Buddhism is simply the way the Mahayana teaches is only a way of practice. Call it whatever. Call it Christianity for all I care. It doesn't matter. Whatever you call it.
That's what you're doing.
When you get there, when you reach first ground Bodhisattva, it doesn't matter what you call it. None whatsoever.
So you don't have to be Buddhist to walk the Buddhist path.
Yes. But if you insist on being non-Buddhist to walk the Buddhist path, that is an attachment. Does it make sense?
But if you insist on being a Buddhist to walk the Buddhist path, isn't that attachment?
Of course. It's a good attachment.
It's a good attachment.
It's a good attachment. It's an expedient. That's what in Buddhism we call expedient. Because eventually, when you reach a certain level, if you claim you're Buddhist, I slap you in the face. When you get there, I will slap you in the face and you're no longer Buddhist.
I think my attachment is to the ritual of Buddhism and not the thoughts of it.
No, your attachment is your not understanding these rituals.
Oh,
Be very clear about it. Yourself reacts to that. I don't understand this. I don't like it. You have some baggage there.
Self-protection.
No,
Yeah.
it's
No,
some
I-
baggage there. Baggage there says, superstition, nonsense. I'm above that. All those, a combination of those things. Okay, not necessarily in those terms, but there's some attachments there. Okay, that yourself is so swift that it moves around. You won't be able to pin it down. It says, I don't like it. Okay,
it's arrogance, I think.
it's arrogant.
Yeah,
Well,
It
that's,
says, I'm above this. Ultimately, it says, I'm above it.
yeah,
You guys,
exactly.
who are you to tell me to bow down to you? Who are you to tell me to prostrate on the ground to a piece of wood?
Yeah, I don't see this
See,
offensive.
that's arrogant. That's beautiful of Buddhism right there. It points you to where you are attached. That's the beauty of the Dharma right there. That's why I love it. Does it make sense to you?
To your ego.
It doesn't matter. When you bow to the Buddha, you bow to the Buddha. You bow to me and my life is shorter. I'd rather you don't bow to me.
And we are judgmental to keep our ego intact.
It's the ego that disguises itself. It says, I don't like this. This is superstition. I'm above this. All those things. Therefore, Buddhism is not for me. Or therefore, I'm not going to be Buddhist. Therefore,
Or Catholic, I'm not gonna go confess to a man who,
Yeah.
say
He's probably more confused than I am.
Yeah. That's how I feel, which is arrogance.
About wisdom and aha,
Yeah.
if they are if you reach the state of aha, however you say it, you don't have the wisdom, you still need wisdom.
Ahaship is a state of wisdom.
Okay,
Wisdom infinite. I mean, there is no ceiling. Okay, now you have it. Isn't it ongoing? Attaining.
And when you reach first ground Bodhisattva, then you understand the wisdom of the Buddhas. Glimpse of it.
this one says that we reach a point of having nothing.
That's emptiness. So in Buddhism, it's called true emptiness. Ahas haven't reached it yet. They have reached a state of emptiness, which is really, really wonderful. It is so blissful. But it's nothing yet.
that's what I want to understand.
Can we still keep an open mind in attaining me? Or is that an open mind?
That sounds like a mental construct
It's
to me.
That's what?
Construct,
Just something in your mind produces. You still rely on your conscious mind to produce it.
Freud.
You're not free from it yet.
Sigmund Freud, that's what that is.
That's the problem with academians. They rely on the conscious mind.
Yes,
Therefore, they still don't understand.
they close their
The
mind.
ego, as long as your mind functions, the ego still has a way to get you confused. You think too much. You like this with knowledge. That's academians.
Yeah.
Okay? You like this. You cannot let go. It's not that you're dumb. You're so sharp that as soon as you see it,
Well, no more.
you rot. You cannot let go. That's an attachment to knowledge. See how right? See, I know. Oh yeah, you deserve each other. That's the nature of knowledge. Okay? As soon as you see it, you understand. See, I know. I'm right. That's a self.
And I want to judge this. I'm going to judge it and say that it
That's
is
a function of the self. I know I'm right, you're wrong. And there's no available dharma to free yourself from that working in the mind until you practice the arhatship dharma. Okay? Or the bodhisattva dharma. The arhatship dharma is included in the bodhisattva dharma. It's a subset of that. Is it clear now? Next section. Section 3. Severing love and renouncing greed.
Gosh.
This is about ascetic practices. What are ascetic practices? Ascetic practices are the more intensive practices in Buddhism that enable, that help us progress even quicker, much more intensive. Okay. In the prior section, we talked about no cultivation, no certification, and therefore this section here is intended to remind us that those are the states of sages. To get there, we have some work to do. Okay, so don't say right now, since you talk about no cultivation, no certification, you don't have to do anything. No, you have to cross your legs and
Suffer.
have some fun.
Overcome the pain.
The Buddha said, shaving the hair and beards, they become shramanas who accept the dharmas of the way. They renounce worldly wealth and riches. In receiving alms, they accept only what's enough. They take only one meal a day at noon, pass the night beneath trees, and are careful not to seek more than that. Craving and desire are what cause people to be stupid and dull. Shaving the hair and the beards. Why? An attachment to external appearances.
I
Okay?
learned that shaving my head when I had cancer.
Oh yeah. It's a big loss, wasn't it? Terrible thing. Terrible thing. And not only that, you spend so much time fixing the hair and going to the hairdresser, trimming the beards. And saves time. But actually, it's, see, that's the beauty of the Dharma, of the practice right there. Just simplify right away. You say, as a Shramana, I shave my head. I don't worry about my hair anymore. I don't have beard. I don't have to trim my beard. So that's the Dharma right there. It says, I chose to not be attached to these things anymore. You just wipe it off the table. That's it. That's why it's a little bit faster. Okay? So that's what is meant by accept the dharmas of the way. They chose, it's their own will. They chose to practice this kind of dharma. Nothing. No one forces them to
You
do
had
it.
to become left home and you had to be certified as being
There's a dharma behind it.
a Sharamana. And some
Yeah.
teacher has to certify.
There's the way of practice. There's a practice behind it. It's not like a casual thing. You don't look at us. Please don't look at us and say, "Oh, you guys are silly people." No, we have to go through a very rigorous training and rather demanding process. For example, in Master Hsuan Hua's environment, if you want to be the lead home, you have to go to the temple and live there for 3 years. In the early days, that's what they have to do. Work in the temple for 3 years. I didn't have to do that. But then guess what happened? I got kicked out so quickly too. No, that's not entirely the whole story. But there's a reason behind all these things. Okay? There's a dharma of practice that are designed to help you, help us as practitioners We train you to do certain things. It's for your own good. Okay? So that's why it's meant by accept the dharmas of the way. Please don't tell me that you want to become enlightened and let me do it my way. Let me do it a non-Buddhist way. If you want to do it that way, I don't know what to teach you. I only know the Buddhist way, unfortunately. Okay?
It's not unfortunately.
It depends how you look at it.
It's pretty fortunate, I'd say.
They renounce worldly wealth and riches. Why do they renounce worldly wealth and riches?
Attachment.
So difficult to let go. Okay? Look at Bill Gates. You know, when you reach his kind of wealth, and you can justify it in terms of you're smart and all those things, you're the smartest guy on earth because you're the richest guy on earth. It's only makes you become more arrogant. You can't let go of your own arrogance, first of all. Because you can buy it. You can buy people, you can buy things. Okay? So the worldly wealth and riches, when you become Shramana, we live a life of poverty because of the Dharma. That Dharma helps us unload the attachment to wealth. Wealth is very difficult to let go. You can justify it in terms of financial security, if you like, but that is still attachment to wealth. It has so many variations. We as Shramanas, the Dharma is to help us let them go. Isn't it?
In our society.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Because let's face it, because we are so, our normal operating mode is to minimize our expenditures. You're not wealthy unless you can hold on to money, right? So we're constantly doing processing to minimize the outlay of money, aren't we? It constantly goes on underground in your mind, whether you want to admit it or not. Okay? I'm not saying that's being stupid. It makes sense. Okay? If you have to pay that projector is a grand like a year ago, okay? After waiting for 4 months because I didn't have enough money to pay for it, finally came down to 900. If I had to choose between 900 and 1,000, sure, I'd rather pay 900. That's rational. What it points to is the attachment to that you must get the best view possible. That's the attachment I'm pointing to. Does it make sense to you? It's not so much that that you should save money as much as possible. It's the attachment that you must save money every single time. That is stinginess in Buddhism.
Well, I don't like doing that. I don't like that. I have other faults, but that's
But
one.
I don't like credit cards.
Kiddo, when I give you a check for $1 billion, you change so quickly.
I'm sure I do. I will. I already see that in my children.
Because once you have it, you can't let go. You're so afraid to lose it.
I see that.
It's easy to talk about it since it's only intellectual conjectures. Let me tell you, if I give you a check for $100,000, just a bag of $100,000 in my room, I give it to you. Boy, will you change overnight. Instantly, you begin the process. I better go to a bank, put it in my bank before I lose it.
You're using
Very first thing is fear of loss.
Opposed to the joy of the opportunity of giving it,
Sorry?
as opposed to the joy of the opportunity of giving it.
That could happen. But it's very rare. It's very rare. I'm not saying no, not everyone is like that. Okay? Of course, there's sages who are like normal people like you. Okay? They practice the Dharma, Bodhisattva Dharma. They don't need to be monks. Okay? But these are sages already. They're not confused by it already. Okay? And there are many of them out there. I recognize some of them. And it manifests in the way they act. It's not about what you think or what I think. It's how they think inside. Are they really attached to wealth and riches or not? That's what you ought to ask yourself. It doesn't matter what I think of you or what you want me to think of you. It's irrelevant. It's your baggage. So the Brahmana Dharma is that we live a life of poverty so that we don't have to deal with attachment to possessions. Okay? And it turns out the funny thing is that some of these Brahmanas are so poor. You know what happens to them? They become attached to?
Being poor.
No. In the ancient times, this is very hard to come by, these ashes. See, originally we go to a dumpster and pick up rags and piece them together. That's why we have these squarish. We still keep the squarish form. Because originally we're so poor that we had to go to the garbage, pick up these fabrics that no one wants, bring them back and wash them, and then piece them together. Okay? And then when you got some money, you buy some dye and dye that they look, we all look the same, that kind of thing. And what happened is that for a monk back then, this is so expensive, such a big deal, that they become so attached to this. It's all the various forms how the self manifests itself. So there we are, doing away with money, doing away with cars, doing away with houses, doing away with all material possessions. And then we became attached to the last thing we have on our body. Isn't that incredible a state? That's wisdom right there. Because if you can get to that point, and I say, oh, look at yourself, you can let go. There's a beauty in the Dharma right there.
Is that humility?
Yeah.
No.
It helps towards
In
the
the
self.
Fellowship of AA, they have a central office in New York, and you're not allowed to leave any money in your will. Will not accept it. When it was first being founded in 1935, they did accept some money from a benefactor, and they just went crazy over trying to decide how to spend that money.
Yeah.
So for 72 years, they will not accept any thing from a will. And in the local meetings, you put in money in a basket, and they never keep more than your next month's rent.
Do they receive government assistance?
No, not at all. No, not at all.
That's remarkable.
Yeah,
Because
Not
that's
at all.
remarkable.
corruption.
Really
Yes,
remarkable.
it's
Because-
strictly non-political. You can't
The will money was starting to lead to
Yes,
corruption.
it was
exactly.
Yes.
The infighting instantly developed.
Yes.
That's remarkable. The founder AA has just some real wisdom
Yeah.
right there. Okay? That's still, that's a very remarkable person right there.
And the whole program of AA is founded on humility, lack of ego.
I used to take somebody in my class.
When you-
to that all the time.
when you if you think you're having a bad day, the first thing you're supposed to do is get out of self and go help somebody else who is less fortunate than you.
That's remarkable. Very good, very good.
And we can hug each other asexually.
But you don't tell each other, you don't turn me on.
Only if you desire.
We will now.
In receiving alms, they accept only what's enough to quell the hunger and the thirst. They simplify. Okay, this is part of the ascetic practice. We don't cook. Typically, we don't cook for ourselves. The monks and nuns, They go out on the arms of what is called an arms bowl round. They stand in front of the houses. Okay? Don't ring a bell. Don't say anything. Just stand there for a while. If someone comes out to make an offering, fine, accept it. If nothing happens, they walk to the next house. They go to 7 houses in a row. Okay? And they come back. That's the arms round. Arms bowl round for us. If they receive no food, they don't eat. Or maybe someone receives a lot of food, they share it. Okay? But if they don't receive anything, they don't eat.
5 to 7. That's,
To limit greed. Okay?
okay, so you wouldn't just keep.
You keep going, like, oh, 1/3 the way. Maybe I try Beverly Hills. No, Beverly Hills, they're rich, but they're very stingy. Maybe I try extremely stingy. Malibu, Beverly Hills. We know we avoid those areas, those neighborhoods.
That's how you get rich.
That's how you stay rich. That's how you stay rich. You get rich by stealing and doing, sometimes by stealing, but you stay rich by not giving, by not spending it. So anyway, you minimize the process of discrimination again. 7 houses, and then you come back.
Do they do that on the monastery there on Redondo?
They don't do it now. This is what used to happen in China and Vietnam and Thailand and so on. You still go to Malaysia and Vietnam nowadays. They still do arms round bowl, or even go to that place where I show you. There's a monk who does the arm round bowl there in the morning before 10. The Vietnamese grocery store.
Oh, there? They do it there?
Yeah, there's only one monk there in the morning.
Oh.
Okay. So, but in Mahayana, we don't do that. We begin to cook for ourselves because for expedience, because we begin now to practice together, and then to go and let's say from a forest, a temple in the forest to the village, you have to walk, then you will walk back. Okay, that's a lot of time you expend. So instead of that, we have a cooking department, a food department, a kitchen department, and then we divide out the work around the temple so that we can have more time to practice. So what happens is in Mahayana temples, we cook for ourselves. We don't go in arms around bowls.
Do they grow their own vegetables?
They do their own gardening, and they grow their own food, that kind of thing. And that's an expedient for Mahayana, which is frowned upon by the Theravadan tradition. It's one more excuse for them to look down on us. It's not according to the strict rules. Strictly speaking, we're not supposed to cook for ourselves. What does it sound like to you? An attachment to Dharma, doesn't it? That's why they look at us and say, you Mahayana people, how can you expect to get there if you don't follow the teaching? Okay? The only problem they don't realize is if they follow their own teaching, once they get there, they get stuck there. Anyway.
But can I ask a question right there? The whole thing's that way. We have to cultivate all these dharmas and all the sutras and everything to get to a spot where we will, and I'm going to say disregard. I can't think of another word right now, but where we will transcend them all and disregard them all.
Yeah. But you cannot be casual about it. There's a dharma behind it. You can't say I can do anything, do as I please now.
No, I didn't mean that. I mean, I just meant.
What is that? All those things are what is classified as expedience in Mahayana.
Okay.
All those expedience. All Dharma doors are expedience as far as Mahayana is concerned. To help you, to help us.
Yes.
I'm sorry?
what if you're working with the Dharma to cultivate to where it's indicating to go, once you're there, the Dharma stays important to other people who are cultivating it. It's not important to you anymore.
Yeah.
It just passes away.
Yeah.
And you take on some other one as your wisdom increases.
But we let go of the cultivation.
We cultivate, yet we don't cultivate. We're not attached to cultivation anymore. We're so attached to cultivation because when you reach the bliss from dhyana, you become attached to the bliss.
Easily.
Very easily. So there along the way, in the practice, you become attached to the practice itself. When you reach real sagehood in Mahayana, you're no longer attached. Therefore, you cultivate and yet you don't cultivate. That's what they say. That's what is explained as cultivation and yet not cultivate. You're no longer attached to cultivation. Good question. Good question. Even when they're eating, they only accept what's enough. They don't cook. They don't store up food. Okay. That's why the Theravadins are the purest forms in terms of ascetic practices. That's why they frown at us, Mahayana. Okay. And it's all about expedience. Do not think that you can take shortcuts and do things as you please because you don't have enough wisdom to do that. Expedients are usually because they're created from wise people to help you. If you're not a sage yet, don't think you can create your own experience. Okay? So, the Theravada tradition, traditionally, they do not. They only go for an arms around bowl and then come back and eat, and that's it. They don't, if whatever they have, they can't eat, they give it away. They don't store it for the next day. Mahayana, you go and buy a bag of rice, and then we eat, take 1 cup a day and eat it. And then, so we're storing food. All those are inferior dharmas and Theravada eyes. Okay? But this is really truly ascetic, is that we don't, when you go to the jungle, for example, you practice up in the mountain. That's what people do. When it's time for them to eat, maybe they go and pick up some fruits or pick up things to eat, and they eat, and that's it. There's no fridge, no microwave. They take only 1 meal a day at noon. This is a typical Buddhist tradition because the gods eat in the morning, the animals eat in the afternoon, and hungry ghosts eat in the evening, and that's why the Buddhas eat at noon. When you eat at noon, you're planting the seeds for Buddhahood. That's what Buddhas do. They eat only 1 meal a day, no breakfast, no dinner. Okay? And later on, some of them became concerned. They said, Buddha, I'm losing weight too much. Is there anything we can do? Buddha said, okay, if you like, you can eat breakfast. They don't eat afternoon. Okay? Now you go to temples nowadays, or the Chinese, Vietnamese, and so on. They usually, at the typical, like normal people, they start their lunch at noon, like everyone else. That's not what is done at Master Shenhua's temple. You go to his temples, they eat the meal at before 11, they finish before noon. Okay? So as a term of etiquette, when you meet with these people, when you wish you go out with them, make it a practice to make sure they eat before noon. That's a sign of respect for their tradition. But nowadays, really, the typical monks and nuns out there, they eat just like you guys at noon. Maybe even 3 meals a day. Nothing wrong with that. You just have more meals to be attached to. That's all. That's where they at.
It doesn't say vegetarian right here. Does vegetarianism
No.
do it somewhere else?
The Buddha, the Theravadins can eat meat.
Okay. I mean,
It's okay to eat meat.
Oh, okay.
There's what is called 5 pure kinds of meat. Okay? You can eat meat, for example, in areas where they can grow things. Very arid areas.
Yes, where they have to live up to meat.
The only thing available is animal meat. So what they do is they're not supposed to hunt. They only eat, let's say, animals that are dead or died, are hunted by other predators. Okay?
That was going to be my next one.
Now, they're not supposed to go out there with a bow and arrow or a shotgun, okay? Even though they're allowed to eat meat, they're not allowed to kill. But it turns out nowadays, you go to some temples, especially Theravadan traditions, they still eat meat. They're still attached to meat. When you become vegetarian, you are taking a loss. You're giving up on good tasting food. And in the process, what do? You're minimizing your killing karma. Because the food that's served to you are from animals that were killed. You didn't directly kill them, but you have conditions with the killing process. It's not meant to be a criticism, okay? I'm simply pointing out to you the mere facts of life. The beefsteaks right there came from an animal that was killed. So when you pick up money and pay for the meat, you are creating conditions for the killing karma. Does it make sense to you?
No, you wouldn't be killed if you didn't pay for it.
Okay, so that's it. But on top of it, actually, also it's more than that. It's the meat that you eat are very toxic in your system. Very, very toxic. Why do you think you get sick and get cancer?
And that scientifically, they just announced that people who have had colon cancer, if they continue eating meat, they're likely to get it again. And the other day, I was in a hurry and stopped at Vaughn's Pavilion to pick up something, and I went to the Panda Express, and I didn't see, because we needed something fast for dinner. Oh, it's Thursday, yes. And and I didn't see any tofu dish. I said, is there a vegetarian dish here? And she showed me the eggplant and the tofu. And I said, but she said, but it's not vegetarian. It was an Asian lady. And she said, it's cooked in chicken fat. And I said, oh, thank you. I'm Buddhist and only want vegetarian. And she says, it's not vegetarian. And I thought that was so nice of her to tell me, because she just lost a sale because I left the restaurant.
The animal fat is tastier. So it's understandable the restaurants prefer
But
to eat
that was so
animal
nice
fat.
of her to tell me, because she didn't have to, and I would have bought it, thinking it was okay.
That's your blessings right there.
And she lost a customer for the business.
That's what I told her.
Yeah. But then she created merit and virtues for herself.
Yes.
She
And
created
whispering
so
to me.
much goodwill for her business.
Yes.
See, that's what
Vegetarian.
not measured in the books.
That's right.
At noon, past the night beneath trees. Even monks and nuns, they sleep at night underneath trees, out in the open. They stay at a tree 3 nights in a row and then move on. That's a dharma. That's called ascetic practice, because even staying around a tree would create attachment that every 3 days they move on. You know why? It is so simple. You know why? You have to do it before you know why. Because you live underneath, you live around that tree for 3 days. Guess what?
Becomes yours.
People know where to find you. They come and make offerings to you. And these people, they say, I'm going to be incognito. I go where people can't find me. It's so beautiful.
Why do you want people not to be able to find you?
Load up. People find you, what for? They come and give you offerings. They burden you. That's the Theravadan tradition. You minimize the burdens. See, that's the difference between Theravadan and Mahayana. Mahayana, we create a temple, we live there, people can come and seek our help and make offerings. So there's always a trade-off. When they make an offering, okay, we have to load up, hoard, but then we allow them to create blessings for themselves. Okay? So we go through a dharma where there's a trade-off. This kind of dharma is optimal for the Theravadan tradition. That's fine. But it has its limitations. It's always, you need to have some kind of balance. Okay? But that's typically what happens. They sleep 3 nights in a row and then move on. And in particular, it says here, are careful not to seek more than that. Okay? Just enough
And they don't sleep
to
very long.
subsist.
They don't sleep very long.
Yeah, they don't have to. Craving and desire what cause people to be stupid and dull. Craving. Hello. And desire what cause people to be stupid and dull. Stupid refers to what? What's the difference between stupid and dull? Does anyone know?
Stupid is ignorance.
Knowing the difference.
This refers to stupid is that internally you're stupid. Dull is really in Chinese came from bi, meaning covered. Externally you covered. You're being shaded. You can't see the truth. You can't see the whole picture. Dull, what dull refers to. So it's a 2-stage process. Okay? The arhats get the state where they cease to be stupid, but they're still covered. That's why they're so attached to their dharma. Okay? Section 4. We're flying today. Oh, I'm so happy. I ask questions, you fire away, okay?
So can we go back to the vegetarian? You mentioned 5.
Food that is not killed for me. Okay. Food that I didn't hear being killed. Right? Food that is animals that die naturally. Okay. I forgot the other. So there are standards.
Killed by a predator.
Yeah. Or die by old age.
Old age.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. So there are certain criteria.
And so for Mahayana being vegetarian, that's not eating meat, and what else does it mean?
It also means you don't eat meat, you don't eat fish, you don't eat eggs. And in particular, Mahayana takes it a step further. We don't eat onion and garlic families.
Why is it?
Pungent plants.
Extremely toxic and extremely bad for you that you don't know.
I really had
I
to
cook
adjust my
everything with
cooking.
garlic.
I
Everything.
had
Cut
to
it out.
change air. Oh,
Cut
it's
it
so difficult.
Cut it
There's a
out.
lot of Mrs. Dash now.
You realize you go to any restaurant nowadays, you order a dish, they use either onion or garlic.
That's true.
Mahayana, we don't eat onion and garlic.
I like to eat eggs too much. Shouldn't eat eggs.
Don't eat eggs.
There.
The chicken, the chicken didn't give it to you, you stole it from the chicken. No one ever asked, and the chickens, can we have your eggs? What do you think they're going to tell you, you ask? That's what we never ask.
but they're not, the ones we buy are not fertile, so they wouldn't have been more chickens.
But did they give it to you?
You can buy them fertile. You can buy fertile eggs.
If I read, no, I know, but the ones, I don't like them.
The point is, did you ask them before you take the eggs?
No, we didn't.
If I grew them in my yard and fed them, I would be paying them for the eggs because that's why I would have them, by feeding them.
Yeah. And that's
That's
rather
not it.
mean.
That's a little short.
You're using
Still
them.
not.
You're using them to satisfy your craving for
Further
eggs.
craving attachment. Yes.
But in its own way, the chicken giving up the egg is its way of achieving blessings.
It's a salary.
No, they're being forced.
No choice.
But that's their nature.
They're bred to lay eggs and then to be slaughtered. The intention behind it is predatory.
Okay.
Did I touch a nerve here?
I got a real nerve because I feed my husband meat because he's a meat eater and I don't eat it. Is that gonna get, is that?
Yeah, creating conditions to those poor living beings. But what can you do?
I mean,
If your husband eats meat, he's gonna eat meat. You can't starve him to death. That's even worse.
I mean, he doesn't get meat every day because I don't serve it every day.
So what you do is you find ways to
I give him other.
minimize
I
because
do that.
vegetarian food has flavors like meat nowadays.
Well,
It's
he's
not that much
vegetarian, but I do let him have meat once in a while. I mean, I can't-
But that's all right. That's all right. People, you have to feed them. Okay. The reason that you want to become vegetarian really is only two real reasons. Number one, compassion. You hate to base your pleasure, your eating pleasure, on somebody else's suffering. Okay. Now you can choose to say, I don't want to know about this suffering. That's fine. Okay. The other reason being that meat is extremely toxic. I'm sorry to tell you that.
It is, I know.
That's how your body gets diseased so quickly.
I know that. Animals.
Cattle, animals, turkey, chickens, farmed fish. They put antibiotics in the water. That's one of the reasons we've got the superbugs. Not because there's so much antibiotics being used that the superbugs develop.
So if you're sick, you ought to become vegetarian. That's the number two reason. Because you're sick, meaning your system has to fight for its life. Don't overburden it with more toxins intake every day. Okay?
So
If you don't believe me, when you're sick, if you're real sick, and you change your diet, you become vegetarian, you see a huge change in your health.
You feel better.
Much better.
Yeah, I do.
Does this include all dairy products?
No, dairy products are okay.
Milk, cheese?
And milk, cheese are okay. Buddhas eat milk, and
So dairy products are okay, but eggs aren't.
eggs aren't.
But did you ask the cow for the milk?
But they have to give.
But
Sort of.
the cow
That's a
suffers
good
if
one,
you don't.
Bruce.
Well, I mean, I'm confused about that.
So the chicken would be on a pile that high and left in there.
Well, it's more than that, because the chicken, the eggs is a form of life.
Yeah, because it
It's
can
more
be
than-
hatched
more than
into
milk.
another chicken,
Yeah.
right?
It's more than milk.
It can be hatched.
Good point. It's more than that. More than simply stealing. It's a form of life. Just
So
because you don't fertilize it doesn't mean that it cannot develop into, doesn't have the option to become a living being.
I didn't, in the last section, you were talking about, it said to,
Craving and desire is what makes people stupid and dull. Craving is love. Last sentence. Craving and desire is what causes people to be stupid and dumb. Craving really refers to love.
That's the seven law.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, still contemplating this whole vegetarian thing. So, garlic and onion family. So, that's toxic.
Very toxic. Some even use it to cure.
Sulfur byproduct that they use in drugs.
It has its uses, but then it also has its dangers.
I'm allergic.
So you can use it to deal with certain things, but you also in the process you are creating more problems, other kinds of problems. It's best not to use it.
So, is there anything else that's toxic beside those things?
Those are the major things. That's it. That's what, and that's what we eat. What people normally eat now.
And it also includes shallots and leeks.
And chives.
And chives,
Chives.
yes.
Onion and garlic family. You see, now today I touch on the food thing, which is another nerve. Do you think lecturing sutra is easy? It offends people. It offends the normal people. Because basically what I'm telling you is what you're eating is very toxic to your system. Onion and garlic in every single dish you make.
But see, garlic is a tradition and that's in groups. And
Yeah.
that's, that's, the food doesn't taste right without garlic. That's the way they were
Tastes
raised.
better with garlic. More fragrant.
That's right.
Much more fragrant.
It used to not taste good without salt too.
Yeah.
And now people are
Salt,
changing.
salt is a it's a digestive.
Yeah, but excessively. They oversalt it.
That's right.
You don't need that
You need
much
it for
salt.
digestion.
You don't need as much salt you think.
No, you don't.
And but naturally the natural food out there has enough salt for you, for your system.
But for flavor, you can use ginger and
Ginger is good for you. Ginger increases your qi flow. That's something I haven't taught yet.
Gets rid of
Nutmeg.
motion sickness.
Increase your
Yes,
qi
it is.
flow. You see, we have a lot of secrets. We only reveal these are intense dharmas. When you get to the point where you can get benefit from these things and you learn about those.
You mentioned the fish, does that include everything that comes from the seas?
All live things.
Crustaceans.
All
So,
very toxic. Extremely toxic. They're even more dangerous than meat, by the way.
Chat, more dangerous than meat.
Do you know why?
Pollution.
More pollution of
Not only just pollution of the oceans, but some much deeper level. Do you know why?
all ghosts or whatever's in there.
When you eat meat, let's say you eat a steak, that's from the soft slaughtering of a cow. Okay, I'm touching your nerves again. I love to do it today.
No problem with me.
Okay? But the cow was raised by you. You fed it. Okay? When you go out to the ocean, what did you do for the shrimps and the fish? None came and took and killed.
Stole.
Okay? So what happens? That hatred from the killing karma is much, much worse. And they come and get you a lot faster. Because they're a lot more vengeful towards you than the cows and the chickens. Because the cow and chickens owe to you their life. Right? With how you are feeding them, they cannot grow, they cannot live. So you are creating, you give them life for a while before you kill them. Out there in the ocean, you did nothing for them. You only came and destroyed. And they are so upset.
We did that for years.
Yeah,
They become so
I've
much more
killed
upset.
thousands of fish.
Trout.
And
abalone.
when they're upset, if they, let's say, I'm give you a simple scenario, they're upset, you happen to kill, let's say, a king shrimp. You don't become a king shrimp unless you have a lot of blessings. You kill the king shrimp, you love, enjoy the taste in that French restaurant. Okay? The king shrimp died and is reborn as a ghost. What does he do? After you. Comes after you. Makes you sick. Come right at you. And you're not gonna win.
Caviar must be even worse. Not all
Millions.
eggs.
Millions of babies. You know.
You are killing karma with millions of beings. We're not talking about one shrimp here. Talking about the whole school of shrimps.
So being a vegetarian has nothing to do with the precept of not killing.
No.
It has to do with compassion
Yeah.
and
Hurting yourself, harming yourself. And there's one more thing I didn't explain. I only stop at 2 because it's for you lay people. But the third one is really a practice. You do away with the greed for flavor. Simplify it. It's no longer part of the equation. It's to seek after taste of flavors. That's number 3 for us. Shamans.
Our whole argument here with you is attachment.
Yeah.
It's what we do. We think what we do is normal, and if you say what you say, you're being abnormal to us.
No, you have your own life. There's nothing wrong with that. You go home, you cook, and you go to a restaurant, you spend time with friends and so on. Those are part of your life. Okay? I point out these things to you not to make you to criticize you, and it's just those are the kind of things that you are accustomed to, you attached to. This was lecturing the sutra is a lot harder than you think, because we touch so many nerves.
But if you let it go, why do so many other people resent you doing that? I mean, not eating meat to my husband, he thinks he can't eat because I don't eat it. And I'm thinking, what does that have to do with you?
Yeah.
Causes conflict.
That's their issue.
It's unreasonable to ask you to cook something you're not going to eat. They probably
And you may have to come with, say, like health reasons or whatever to make them not offend them, not to offend them.
Yeah.
So like my brother, when he started to become vegetarian years ago, he walks around with a syringe. He says, "I'm diabetic." People were offended. He offended his friends, his relatives were offended that he became vegetarian.
Yeah.
And they're so offended. So he said, "Hey, I'm diabetic. It's my life now is at stake."
Does he still need
Sometimes you have to be flexible.
Yeah.
Part of your practice is that I'm teaching you to be kind to the people around you, because you're changing so quickly, so drastically, that they can't adjust to that quickly enough. They can't handle it. So that's why you have to be kind. Be understanding. It's okay. If they gotta get offended, they get offended. You find a way to make it up to them.
They make jokes.
My son said when I first became a vegetarian, I was doing it for attention. I said I could find better ways to get attention than doing that. He was in his late 20s, like 30s or when he said that to me. Oh, okay. I don't think so.
Dye your hair pink, see what he says.
Anything else? Next section here is about good and evil. Another nerve. I love this sutra because this sutra is one of the easiest sutra in Buddhism. That's why when after you're Buddhist for a long time, you read a lot of sutra, you hear someone lecturing on a sutra in 42 sections. Yeah, that's too easy a sutra. It's very shallow. And then let me assure you what we described so far is very, very deep. The kind of Dharma you've been explained is very profound, a lot deeper at the theoretical level as well as the practice level that most people have been exposed to, no matter how long they've been in Buddhism. So today I'm touching another nerve about evil and good. Okay? This section explains that good and evil have no nature of themselves. They depend on each other for existence. They're defined relative to each other.
Yin and yang.
Yes, it's duality. Okay? But it's also designed to help us remove the attachment that, remember the section 1 we said, the sages, section 2, the sages are not tied to karma. They cannot create bad karma. Therefore, what we do, what our actions are irrelevant. Doesn't matter what we do. Oh, it makes a difference. Whatever we do, we have to choose between evil, doing good, and doing evil. So we have to be careful. The Buddha said living beings may perform 10 good deeds or 10 evil deeds. What are the 10? 3 are done with the body, 4 are done with the mouth, and 3 are done with the mind. That comes with 10. The 3 done with the body are killing, stealing, and lust. 10 good deeds are a non-Buddhist Dharma. When the Buddha Dharma is not available in the world, there's no Buddha Dharma until the Buddha comes in the world and starts teaching it. Okay? And then his disciples propagate the teaching until it dies. It goes away. Okay, but we are right now in the Dharma ending age, meaning that the Buddha Dharma is shrinking. Less and less people know about it. Okay? In particular, the people who practice it have a hard time getting enlightened. Very few, extremely few people get enlightened. Because of the nature of our era. And the Buddha Dharma will shrink and die. And disappear from our world. Okay. Without the Buddha Dharma around, there's something called the 10 good deeds. Alright? The 10 good deeds is a non-Buddhist Dharma. What's the importance of 10 good deeds? If you practice the 10 good deeds, you are practicing the Dharma to be reborn in the heavens. This is the ultimate Dharma, to be reborn in the heavenly realm. It's not about believing in God. See, I promise you, I'm touching nerves today. No matter how much you believe in God, it's not going to make you be reborn in the heavens. It's about the 10 good deeds. How well you practice the 10 good deeds, that enables you to be reborn in the heavens. It's not facing God. That's wrong. Okay? The real causal relationship between being reborn in the heavens is the 10 good deeds. That's the truth. What are the 10? 3 are done with the body. The body are killing, stealing, and lust. Killing karmas, stealing karmas, and lustful dharmas. Lust dharmas. Any questions on that?
No, but can't killing and lust also be done with the mind?
It starts with the mind, but then it finishes with the body, with the hand.
Yeah, the actual physical.
With the physical thing. So we differentiate between the body and the mouth, and body karma, the mouth karma, and the mind karma. Okay? Body karma is that The body karma is the lowest form, the coarsest form, meaning killing is a rather physical act. Okay? It requires a lot more. It requires a body. The next one. The four done with the mouth are duplicity, hard speech, lies, and frivolous speech. The three done with the mind are jealousy, hatred, and stupidity. These 10 are not in accord with the way of sages and are called the 10 evil deeds. To put a stop to these evils is to perform the 10 good deeds. So the Buddha first started to define the 10 evil things. The 3 evil things you can do with your body are to kill, to steal, and to be lustful. The 4 then with the mouth are duplicity, meaning double tongue. You say one thing to one person and say another thing to another person with the objective of getting them to get into conflict. That's duplicity. Okay? Hard speech. I think Mel knows what I mean by hard speech, if you ask him.
What's you mean now?
Poor Mel.
You can also kill with the mouth.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, the mouth can do a lot of wonderful things.
So is it okay to do hard speech if you have good intent?
You're creating 2 karmas, aren't we? So, does that answer your question?
It's in the eyes of the beholder as well, though.
You have to separate the 2. One is that your intentions are good, okay, but the receiver takes it wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, in the receiving end, there are 2 results.
But the dharma that we're being told does not say hard speech is okay if the person doesn't take it wrong. It's saying hard speech is an evil deed.
Well, it's
Independent of how the person took it or independent of the intent,
Right.
hard speech is still an evil deed.
But it isn't harsh speech if the person doesn't interpret it that way.
That's right.
But if they interpret it that way, but know it's coming out of your mouth, so you don't really mean it that way.
You still create the hard speech karma.
I did that with Donna.
In that case, you do.
I did. Our friend gave up everything. Her car, her phone, everything. And I said, wow, you're one person short of a street person, one thing short of being a street person. Well, there I go again, and that was awful. But what I meant was, oh, no more worries. You don't have to worry where you're going to get the money. You don't have to worry about this.
That's how we say things to people.
But I did it again. Another karma thing.
If it weren't for the monasteries, it would be very, very difficult to become a Sharana. Go to the monastery and have a place to eat and have a place to stay. And if we were in Buddhist time, you'd have to go live in the forest and be a street person.
Well, for Mahayana, right? But there's other forms of Buddhism that you don't have in monastery.
Well, okay, yes.
Like the Theravada, they would live by themselves. They wander around.
And with the bow and feed themselves.
Or even the Mahayana, they go up to the mountain by themselves. So it depends on which karma you practice.
So self-enlightenment.
Depends. There's a lot of paths. But the point is that you need to have a teacher to teach you the path. Okay? Teach you the method before you can practice. You can't say, I'm going to be enlightened. With what? How? You don't have a method. You can't say, I'm going to eat rice today. You better learn how to cook. Or buy some rice, right? So, lies and frivolous speech. Lies is saying untruth. Frivolous speech is saying things that are not necessary. Okay? Any questions? Failures of the mind are jealousy, greed, hatred, and stupidity, basically. Jealousy is greed. Greed, anger, stupidity.
Speech is
You're wasting time.
and
The worst.
In your eyes, it's frivolous, or the person you're saying it to, or
Okay.
something different?
Give an example. For example, you see a woman and you flatter her. That's frivolous speech.
What about if people know something but you continue telling them about it? Causing the people who are listening to you to roll their eyes because they've heard it all before.
Yeah, you being stupid.
Why is that an evil deed? See, why is that an evil deed? Why is frivolous speech an evil deed?
Because it creates problems in other people. For example, let's say go back to the example of a woman. Okay? He said, oh, you are so sexy. I love your dress. What are you doing? You're distracting her.
Well, let's go take Cliff Clavin from Cheers.
Okay?
Man full of, possible knowledge, just
Yes.
talking out of anything, not
Yes,
saying
yeah.
anything of value.
Nothing that doesn't know.
Right.
But it's not necessarily right, but even if it was not necessarily anything of any real value.
Okay.
Would you consider that frivolous speech?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Why? Why?
well, why is that an evil deed?
Because it distracts people from their concentration. We're a little bit finer, more refined now. Remember, the 10 good deeds are the causes for you to be reborn in the heavens. The gods are the beings who are in samadhi. Right? How can you be in samadhi if you keep constantly coming and bugging? There's a subtlety here. That's a very good question. You have such good questions. That's why I don't care wherever you go into whatever lecture you go to. You're going to create hell everywhere you go with your questions. This is such subtle distinction that he made. Why is it an evil deed? It is such a good question. Because to a God, it is an evil thing to do to a God. You cannot become a God if you do stupid things to God. Am I making sense to you? That's the beauty of the Dharma right there. You're a God, you're in samadhi. Suppose you're a goddess. I come to you and say, Linda, you look great today. I love your dress. I love your hairdo. I love your necklace. Okay? I'm distracting you. Okay. Okay, let me try again. Help me. Help me.
Tell Johnny.
I have a tough customer here. So what happens?
Do you know that there are 3,500, postal workers in the city of Long Beach?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
Or are you one of the?
when you say yeah, what does it do? What does it do?
Cliff.
No, I mean, so,
You're reacting to it. You see, it takes you out from what you were doing. Takes you away from your center.
That's just like when I go to this college, it's like,
You thought I called you right there to make the point. You thought you won, but actually I made you lose.
so
Because I got you so much away from your navel.
even if I'm not interested, it's still frivolous.
You're distracted.
you gave him an answer.
When you talk to me, where was your mind?
Responding.
It's not at your navel, was it? I distracted you. You're no longer in samadhi.
So
If you were in samadhi,
frivolous speech is an evil deed because it distracts you.
to a God.
But then, aren't there many other things that you go distract?
At a course level, for example, let's say I see a woman, I praise her, and I stir up her sexual desire. For example, songs, love songs, move a person's mind. That's frivolous speech. Course level.
Sexy dancer.
So you have to be subtle here. You have to be careful about the karmas you create. This is not meant to say that you shouldn't listen to music or anything. When you do those things, you should be aware of these things have certain consequences. Come on, we've been through it. You know, you take a woman back home to your condo, you put on some soft music, you open the windows electrically, and then you watch the sunset.
There I am.
Okay.
Yeah, but those soft music are there for a purpose. Look at the karma we create as part of being sophisticated. Isn't it interesting how brutal Mahayana can be?
It must be mostly hard on the young mom boys. I mean, to
No.
embrace this.
No. Not at all.
I mean, because we had our fun with sexy dancing.
Not at all.
All that.
They also
I know.
enjoy the threesomes and
They're all above that, but if you haven't experienced, they don't know what they missed because they're not experienced. Okay.
But in just that one example that you gave, how many evil deeds are being committed in that?
what?
You've got lust, you've got mouth, you've got
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
lies, you've got,
Yeah.
he has not committed
What
all
do you
10
think?
of them.
What do you think? Why are we so miserable in the end? We come together, we tell each other lies, we con each other, we do frivolous speech, we lie, we do duplicity, we do, and when we get angry, we do hard speech.
But all of that you said.
That's what we do.
Okay, I'm going to get us in it again. But all of that you said, setting the mood, can be true. It can be real feeling. Yeah, I mean, we had a love song.
Yeah.
And we believed